this is this week's video. Hope you're all doing okay. Bear with me 1 second, the dog wants to leave the room. Go on then. Okay, so hope you can make use of this week. So we're focusing again, same as last week, on chest opening poses and back bending poses. So back bends are fantastically exhilarating poses, and I feel like we could probably all benefit from them at this stage. I know certainly my own energy levels have dropped as time goes on. So they, of course, stretch and open the chest, improving your breathing. They also stretch the internal organs, so improving the circulation in the internal organs and opening up the whole of the front body, which when we're not day to day we don't tend to do. We can tend to slump forward if you're working at a desk, if you're home working, and also as your energy levels drop as well, we naturally tend to draw inwards and slump. So they're great for energising your body and your mind. So the equipment that you will need today will be, you will need a rolled up mat, so you can either roll your mat up when it's time for that, or you can get a firm towel and roll that up instead. You will need your usual to sit on, something for under your hands to replace bricks, so a couple of firm large books. You'll also need 2 chairs of the same size ideally, so I'm just using dining room chairs. So just beginning by sitting now, so it will be about an hour long practice. Allow yourself a little more time if you want to do the inversions, so I'm putting the inversions in there. You can either miss headstand out, or you can pause the video at that stage. So if you are going to be wanting to do a headstand, allow yourself a little extra time. So just sitting comfortably on your support now, making sure that you're sitting on something high enough so that the knees will be level or slightly lower than your hips. And just making sure that your legs are comfortable and relaxed. And then use your thumbs on the supports behind you and just begin to extend your spine upwards. So drawing up through the crown of your head. So roll the shoulders back and then release the shoulders down your back. And when you're ready now, just let your eyes close. So take a minute just to feel your sitting position. So make sure that you're sitting evenly over the sitting bones, that you're not leaning forwards or backwards. And just being aware of your legs. And make sure that you've not begun to tense the top of the legs, the back of your thighs are relaxed. Before we join the hands together, again just take the shoulder blades down the back and then move the shoulder blades, the bottom tips of the shoulder blades into the back towards the front chest. And then try not to disturb that now as you join your hands. And then giving your eyes time to settle now, so the eyes behind your eyelids releasing downwards. And just releasing any tightness, any tension in your face. Allow the skin, the muscles of the face to soften and settle back. And then bringing your attention now to your breath. So just being aware of how you're breathing to start with, noticing the quality of your breath. gradually begin to guide your breath so it becomes smooth and steady. So just follow the breath as it flows in and out through the nostrils. Just giving yourself this couple of minutes just to connect to yourself, to quieten, so just being with the breath. Okay, and then just release your hands now, rest the back of your hands onto your legs. So lower your head down. And then slowly open your eyes before you raise your head again. Okay, I'm just going to bring that microphone down, make sure the sound is good enough. Okay, so just sitting on your supports, we're just going to interlock your fingers there, so turn the palms away from you, and then stretch your arms up into Tadasana. Then open the palms towards the ceiling, draw the upper arms in towards your ears. And just watching if you are flexible in the lower back, that you're not pushing forwards there. Okay, and then bring your arms down, so we're just going to twist around to your right side there. So if you bring the hand behind you, if you are sat quite high, you might need something for your back hand. Use your left hand on the right leg to turn to the right. And moving the back ribs into body. And then come back to face forwards, change your interlock over. So bringing the other little finger onto the bottom this time, and stretch your arms up again. So just feeling the length along your side ribs as you use the arms. Bring your arms down and turn to your left side. And move the back ribs in. So you're pulling with the right hand now on the leg to turn. And then come back to face forwards. So we're going to come forwards and cross legs now, so you can either stay on your height if you know that you need it, or you can bring yourself onto the floor. So just bring your thumbs into the top of your legs to start with. So lift your chest and roll the shoulders back before you come forwards. So keeping the length on the front of the body, and then stretch your arms forward. And just let your head release downwards. So just take a couple of breaths there. Okay, then walk your hands in towards you to come up, and then we're going to change the cross of your legs over and repeat that. Bring the other leg in front this time. Again, you can sit back on your support if you want to, just make sure that you're not dropping your lower back. So interlock your fingers again, so coming back to your automatic interlock, turn the palms, and then stretch your arms back up. And just watch that you don't push the head forwards as your arms come back. So bring your arms down, turn to your right again. So just getting a bit of movement into the spine, we're not staying. Come back to face forwards, change your interlock over once more, bring the other little finger onto the bottom, and stretch back up again. Again, head level, so bring the arms back in line with the ears if you can. Bring your arms down and twist to your left side. back to face forwards now. So just bring your thumbs back into the top of the legs to come forwards. Then lift your chest, roll the shoulders back again, and then come forwards from there. Stretch your arms forward and just let your head release downwards. And just stay, breathe. Okay, then walk your hands in towards you to bring yourself up. So we'll just carefully stretch your legs out now for a minute. So bring the legs into Dandasana. So if you join the inner feet together, so bring the big toe joints together, extend the heels away from you and press your thighs towards the floor. Okay, so we're going to turn round to the side next. So coming into Adho Mukha Vrasana. So if you just come and sit back on your heels first of all, so if you know that you struggle to sit on your heels, then you can take something on top of your heels. But bring the knees as wide as your mat. So make sure that we've got space to bring the side ribs forward through the inner thighs. And then come forwards into Adho Mukha Vrasana. Now if your head doesn't come to the floor, then take something underneath your head. So just see that your centre of the forehead is supported. And take a minute in this pose just to check in with how your body's feeling today at this moment. So where does your mind go to in the pose? So any tight muscles? How the joints are feeling? But just gradually lengthening forward. So if you look forwards for a moment, just lift your chest forward. See if you can lengthen the front of the body a little more. Okay, and then coming forwards from there, so coming into dog down. So if you take the little fingers, little toes to the outer edges of your mat for this first one. So bring your middle finger so it's facing forwards. So spread the fingers first of all. And press the base of your fingers into the mat. And then push up from there to come into dog down. And we'll just bend your knees slightly to begin with. Just get the length first of all. So from the hands to the outer hips. The outer hips are stretching back. So lift your sitting bones now. Now try not to disturb the spine as you slowly begin to push your thighs back and straighten the legs. And stretch the heels towards the floor. Push the thighs back. Okay, and then from there, so coming forwards into Uttanasana. So if you know that you struggle to reach the floor, get your replacement block, your bricks, so books or whatever it is you're using. But if you just line up the little toe side of the feet to cover the outer edges of your mat, and then just bring the weight back to your heels for a moment. Lift right up onto your heels, so spread the toes, and then lengthen the soles of your feet as you bring them down one at a time. And see that your legs are firm, so the kneecaps and thigh muscles are pulled well up. Now just be aware of where the weight is in your feet. So we want to just find where you're evenly balanced. So you press in the centre heel, the big toe joint, the little toe joint. Now try not to disturb the legs as you hold your elbows. And just let your body release downwards. So let your head release down.
if you find that you're struggling to keep the knees straight, then just bring your hands back to underneath your shoulders again. So we want to keep the kneecaps, thigh muscles lifted, so the legs stay firm. Okay, now from there we're going to come back to dog down, so bend your knees if you need to. So we're placing the hands shoulder width apart this time. So spread the fingers. And then step your feet well back to come back to dog down. So we're taking the feet as wide as the hips this time. And again, if you just bend your knees slightly to start with, now stretch the hips back away from your hands. So we want to really feel that length along the side of the ribs. And then, so lift the sitting bones. Now try not to disturb the spine. Slowly begin to push the thighs back to straighten the legs again. See if you can get the heels a little bit closer towards the floor this second time. Push your thighs back. Okay, and then bring your knees back onto the floor now. Just come back to your heels and stretch forwards into Adamukhavasana. Keep the extension of the arms. So if you struggle to straighten your elbows with your hands as wide as your shoulders, go a little bit wider apart with your hands. But we want to get that stretch of the arms to stretch your back. Okay, and then from there, if you just walk your hands slowly in towards you to bring yourself back up again. Okay, so next we're going to be just lying back over a rolled up mat. So you can either roll your mat up if you're on a hard floor and you don't want to lie flat on the floor, you can put a blanket on the floor instead, or as I say, you can use a firm rolled up towel instead. And then, so we're just going to lie back over that. Now it's going to be about there, so bra strap area for ladies, so that the bottom tips of your shoulder blades will be supported on there. Now to come into it, if you start off with your shoulders on the mat and your legs bent, and then so you're going to press your feet to push yourself back over, so that the traction of the mat will bring the shoulders down the back, so that you don't feel all hunched and uncomfortable on the floor, around the neck, sorry. So we're coming over far enough, so we're going to take the arms out to the side, so your hands are going to be in line with the shoulders, your arms are going to be above the mat. Now you should feel there that the bottom tips of your shoulder blades are still supported on the mat. If you do feel like you're kind of hunched around the neck, bring yourself back on and go again. And just checking in with how your neck feels there. So if your head doesn't reach the floor easily, do just pop something underneath your head, or if your neck feels uncomfortable. Now, so if you're comfortable in cross legs, bring your legs into cross leg position. If cross legs isn't for you for any reason, if it's not comfortable position, stretch your legs out straight. And just checking in with your lower back as well. So if your lower back does feel like it's pinching a little, then bend your legs up instead. Have your feet wide, just rest your knees together. Just helps to keep a little bit of that length in the lower back. So just give yourself time to settle on there. And let your shoulders relax. So the top of the shoulders are just releasing towards the floor. And just begin to let the weight of the arms release. So your fingers are just gently curling towards the palms of the hands. Just feeling that openness across the front of the body, so you may feel a gentle stretch on the abdomen as well as the chest. Just watch your breath while you're there. So just observing the movement of the breath in the body. The movement, the opening of the front of your body with the inhalation. But with the exhalation, the abdomen just settling back and quietening. And this is just a really nice passive way to open the chest. So if you're in cross legs, then we're just going to change the cross of your legs over now. Just another minute now, so if your mind has wandered, just gently bring the attention back to the breath. So just take a few deeper breaths now as we prepare to move. And then to come out, if you bring your legs back together, so now just carefully turn yourself to the side. So come up onto your forearm, then we're just going to slide that mat out of the way and lie flat for a minute. So take your feet wide on your mats, let the inner knees rest against each other. So just take a moment or two to let your back settle now. Okay, so we're going to just turn to the side, come up and roll your mat out. And then, so we're going to come into dog down again. So when we're starting from a kneeling position, just make sure that your hands are slightly forward of your shoulders so that you won't be too narrow when we come into the pose. And spread the fingers first of all, and then just push up from there to duck down. So your feet are hip distance apart, the hands are shoulder width apart. And stretch the outer hips away from the hands. So feel the length along the side ribs. But just let the head release downwards. And then see if you can take the chest a little further back towards your legs. Okay, and then from there, if you bend your knees, walk your feet forwards, coming into Uttanasana. Now, so we're going to join your feet together. So again, take supports for your hands if you struggle to reach the floor. Okay, so the inner feet are together now, so make sure that the kneecaps, the thigh muscles are pulled up. And so draw the outer thighs in towards each other. So you get a feeling of firmness and of gripping in through the hips. Now from there, we're going to stand on your left leg. We're just going to raise your right leg to halfway, so it's parallel to the floor. But suck in the outer hip on the standing leg and then stretch the heel back. So you want to feel that you're lengthening the back of that raised leg. And if you have a quick peek back at your foot, just check that that foot is pointing straight down. So join your feet back together again. So take a moment. Again, draw the outer thighs in towards each other. Okay, now try not to disturb the right leg as you raise the left. Again, we're only going so that the leg is parallel to the floor, but stretch the heel away from you. Okay, and suck in the outer hip on your standing leg. And then join your feet back together. So just take a moment again. And then when you're ready, raise your right leg once more. So make sure that you're still, so you're pressing the standing leg foot into the floor, so the kneecap thigh muscle are pulled up. Now if you're using supports for your hands, just keep your hands there under your shoulders. If you've got the hands on the floor, we're just going to catch hold around the back of your left ankle. See if you can draw the ribs towards your thigh and raise that leg a little higher. Okay, and then just release, join your feet back together. Just re-energise your legs again. So again, kneecaps are pulled up, grip the outer thighs in towards each other. And then raise your left leg. So we're not raising the hip with it, make sure that the left side of your pelvis is turning towards the floor. Now stretch the heel back. And again, so we won't stay for too long, if you've got the hands on the floor, hold around the back of your right ankle, see if you can bring the lower ribs towards the thighs and lift your leg higher. Okay, and then release, bring your foot down. Look forwards, extend your spine forwards, and then slowly bring yourself up. Okay, and then if you come and turn and face forward. So we're going to do a few of the standing poses now. So if you join the inner feet together, begin from Tadasana. So bring your thighs back slightly. Extend your spine upwards, the shoulders back, and if you stretch the arms down, so you're bringing the hands just behind the hips to pull those outer shoulders back to open the chest. Now from there we're going to take the arms into Headstand. So if you just raise your hands to shoulder height, and extend the arms, feel that you're extending the middle fingers away from each other.
So then you're going to turn your palms to face upwards. But really feeling that that turning is coming from so it's not just the hands we're turning from the upper arms. And then we're going to raise the arms. And bring the arms in line with your ears. So you're grounding through the feet and stretching upwards. And just watch well that you don't push the head forwards. We can tend to tense the neck as we raise the arms. So keep the back of your neck quiet and your head level. Okay, and then exhale, turn your palms away from each other. Release the arms down. Just take a few breaths in Tadasana. Okay, now we're just going to interlock your fingers behind your back there. So your hands are going to be pointing downwards. So very simple chest opener. So you're going to roll your shoulders back and stretch the arms down. Now if you are flexible in the lumbar spine, watch that you're not pushing forwards there. So just bring your front ribs back. And then we're just going to begin to raise the arms away from your body. But keeping the lift of your chest bone. And again, watching that you're not tensing the neck. So if you bring your arms back into your body, you can just let the shoulders relax, but keep the fingers interlocked so that you don't lose that. And then, so you're just going to change the interlock of your fingers over now to bring the other little finger furthest away from your body. And then roll your shoulders back, stretch the arms down, lift the chest, and then begin to lift your arms away from your body. Okay, but you're pulling with the hands so that you're pulling the shoulders down the back, pulling the outer shoulders back. Okay, and then bring your arms back in, just release, stretch your arms down for a minute. Okay, so we're going to do Uttanasana, triangle pose. My favourite. So if you be in the centre of your mat, so start from Tadasana. So take your arms out wide, then bring the hands across your chest and either jump or step your feet wide. And then, so you're going to turn your left foot slightly in and then turn your right leg out. So now turn this leg from the very top of the leg. And then, so you're going to press into your back foot now. So as we come forwards, we're bending from the hip. Oop. Don't know if that hip crack will come out on video there. So bring your hand down to your shin and just take the top hand to your waist for a moment. So you're going to roll the top shoulder back to bring the shoulders on top of each other. So if your chest is turning more towards the floor, you might just need to bring your hand higher up your shin. And then from there you're going to take your top arm up and then turn and look up towards your thumb. But we're keeping this front knee straight, so if you're struggling to keep that knee straight, again come higher up your shin. So, but we want to feel that both these side ribs are even. So you're bringing these top ribs down. What we often can tend to see in Uttanasana is these ribs kind of banana-ing. So we want to keep that nice even length in between those sets of side ribs. Okay, and then press your feet and inhale as you come up. And then just turn your foot back to face forwards. So we're going to the other side now. So turn your right foot slightly in and your left leg out.
And if you just check the alignment of your feet as well. So classically it's the heel in line with the arch of the back foot, but if your hips are quite tight, if you take the foot more so it's in line with the toes or even further forward. So, but turn the leg from the top. Extend your arms. Now press into the back foot now. So we're keeping the legs very firm as we bend from the hip. And again we'll take the top hand to the waist for a moment. So roll the top shoulder back. So we can use this hand to encourage the top ribs to turn. And then top arm up. And as long as your neck's okay, turn your head, look up. Yeah, and see if we can just flatten those top ribs down a little more. And then press your feet and inhale to bring yourself up again. Then turn your feet, jump or step your feet and come back to Tadasana. Just take a few breaths now in Tadasana. Okay, so you're going to need your bricks or books or whatever it is you're using for this next pose. Or you may need them, you may not. So so we're going to do Parsvakonasana, right angle pose. So you're going to take the bricks either side of the front edge of your mat. And then start from a good Tadasana. So when you're ready, so you're going to step or jump your feet wide. Now go a little bit wider than you were for Trikonasana. And then so you're going to turn your left foot slightly in, turn your right leg out. And then so make sure that the weight is in your back foot now. So you're going to bend your front knee into a right angle or as close to a right angle as you can manage. So you're coming into warrior two pose first of all. And then from there you're going to extend forwards and bring the hand down in front of your ankle. Now if you struggle to reach the floor, or again if your chest is turning towards the floor rather than facing straight forwards, then you'll take something for under your hand. But you're going to press the upper arm against the knee to take the bent knee back and turn your top shoulder. Then we're going to take this top arm up and bring the arm over by your ear. So now you're pressing into the little toe side of your back foot and stretching through to your fingertips. So you're getting full stretch through the whole side body. And if it's comfortable to your neck, we then turn and look up. Okay, now press your feet and inhale as you come up. Turn your foot back to face forwards. And then going to your other side. So turn your back toe slightly in, your left leg out. So bend the front knee. So if you just have a look at that thigh bone now, we want to get the thigh bone so it's parallel to the long edge of your mat. So we're taking the bent knee back and then extend forwards, bring your hand down. And then use the upper arm to push the knee back and then turn the top shoulder. And when you're ready, we'll take the top arm up and over. So you can see it's one long line down the whole side body. And it's quite handy with this video because I can actually see myself for once. Again, if you can, turn your head, look up. Okay, and then press your feet and inhale as you come up. So turn your feet back to face forwards and then jump or step your feet back to Tadasana. Okay, so we will just come into Uttanasana. So if you just separate your feet, just wider than your hips, we're just going to hold your elbows and hang forwards in Uttanasana for a minute. So let your head release down. Your head's just hanging quietly. And just let your breath settle in Uttanasana for a minute. And then to come out, if you bring your hands under your shoulders, so just look forwards, extend your spine forwards, and then bring yourself slowly up to standing. Okay, so we are going to do Virabhadrasana 1 next. So I'm just going to move these bricks out of the way, we don't need those. Now, Warrior 1 pose. So when you're ready, so I'm going to start from this way actually. So you're going to step or jump your feet apart. Now we're going to bring the hands onto the hips to begin with. So your left foot is going to turn deeply in and your right leg out. So we're bringing the hips so that they're level. So we need to make sure that you've got a good turning in that back foot. So if you need to, lift your heel, turn your foot more, and then press your heel back to the floor. Doesn't matter if the heel doesn't reach the floor. If you struggle to straighten the leg, then you can take something, a block or something underneath your heel. But we're just going to find your thumbs, use your thumbs either side of your tailbone. So if you just run the thumbs down the spine to the very base of your spine, and then you're going to use your thumbs there to move the tailbone into the body so that we're opening the front groins on the left side. And then from there we're going to bend your knee, coming into a right angle. Now we're trying not to just let the pelvis tilt forward, so I'm still using the thumbs there, moving the tailbone in. Okay, and then we're going to take your arms out to the side, turn your palms upwards and stretch up. And then look up towards the hands. But now you're pressing into the back heel. So roll your shoulders back, release your shoulders down. And then press your feet, inhale, come up. Just bring your hands back onto your hips, take a couple of breaths. Okay, and then we're going to the other side now. So turn your right foot deeply and turn the left leg. Again, get the turning in the hips first of all. So draw the right outer hip forwards. Roll the inner thigh back on your back leg. And then again, so I'm finding the tailbone at the base of the spine there. So move the tailbone into the body. And you should, depending on your body, you should feel that stretch, that opening on the front groins. And then, so bend your knee into the pose. So keep using your thumbs at this stage to keep the tailbone moving in. And then take your arms out, turn the palms, stretch up. Again, look up as long as there's no neck problems. Push your thigh back on the back leg, press the back heel. So if you're not quite in your right angle, so you can bend a little bit deeper. And then inhale to come up now, turn the feet to face forwards, jump or step back to Tadasana. Just take a few breaths. Okay, so from there we're coming into a standing forward bend, so beginning to quieten. So Prasarita Padottanasana, wide leg pose. So if you just come back to the back edge of your mat. And then step your feet wide. So make sure that you've lined your heels up on the back edge of the mat. And then just lift up onto your heels, spread your toes and turn the feet in slightly. Now again, use your thumbs, find your tailbone and move the tailbone into the body. So, but make sure that you're not then pushing your thighs forward. So we want the kneecaps, thigh muscles lifted. So we're going to look up first of all. So bring the shoulders back, lift the chest, and then come forwards. And bring your hands underneath your shoulders. So you can take support for your hands if the hamstrings are tight, if you struggle to reach the floor. Just look forwards, lift your chest forwards. So if you've got the hands on supports, you can keep the hands there under your shoulders and just work on extending your spine forwards. But if your hands go to the floor easily, we're going to walk your hands back. So if you press the heel of the hand into the floor as you go back. And then lastly, just take your head down. So you're bringing the hands back so they're level with the feet. So your hands are put facing forwards. And see that your forearms are parallel with each other. Just let your head release downwards. So we're taking the abdomen gradually back between your legs. Okay, and then walk your hands back to under your shoulders now and just ease your feet in towards each other. Okay, and then we're going to turn around to the side and just come and rest back to your heels for a minute. So you can take support under your head if you need it. So extend your arms forward first of all, but then you can just let the forearms rest onto the floor. And then just walk your hands in towards you to bring yourself up. Okay, now this is the stage where we would put headstand in. So that's not going to be for everybody. I don't know who's going to be using this video, of course. So only put headstand in if you practice it regularly already and you're confident with it. If you aren't confident, then don't attempt headstand without the guidance of a teacher in front of you to catch you if you fall over or to make sure that you don't fall over in the first place. You can do the preparation work for it though if you want to. So for headstand, so you will have the fingers interlocked like so. So the hands are open, the thumbs are touching. And then, so you're going to bring your elbows underneath your shoulder. Sorry, if we're taking the head onto the floor, then I'm just going to fold this mat over there for extra thickness. Okay, so the hands are open and your wrists are going to be on top of each other. So watch that the wrists don't just collapse outwards. And just make sure that your elbows are directly underneath your shoulders. Now I'm pressing the bottom wrist there, pressing the forearms to lift the shoulders away from the floor. And you should also feel a spreading across the upper back. Okay, now if that's as far as you want to go with this, that's fine. So you can take the crown of the head onto the floor. So the back of the head is in the hands. And then you can just lift the knees away from the floor. Now again, I'm pressing the elbows there to lift the shoulders. So you can just practice that, or again, if you do full headstand, then you can raise your legs. But I'll leave you to switch the video off and do the full pose in your own time if you're doing that. So otherwise, we're going to move on from there. Okay, now I did say we were going to need 2 chairs, however we are probably going to run out of time and not get that in the hour, so we're going to miss that one out. So we're going to come down onto our fronts now to do a couple of the back bending poses. Now we're going to start with the Salabhasana variation. So I always like to do this one first. So you're going to have your fingers interlocked behind you. Now I forgot when we were doing that standing that if you can't straighten your elbows, use a belt instead and take your hands wider apart. So this variation, we're keeping the legs on the floor. So you're just going to interlock your fingers behind you. Now first of all, just lift your legs one at a time and lengthen your legs backwards. So you're going to have your feet as wide as the hips. And make sure that your kneecaps are lifted. Now if you roll the inner thighs up towards the ceiling and press your pubic bone into the floor first of all, so that we're lengthening and broadening the back of the hips. And then inhale, and as you exhale, we're going to raise the chest away from the floor. So you're pulling the outer shoulders up away from the floor, and if you just lift your hands slightly away from the body, so you're stretching the hands back towards the feet to pull your shoulders back. And you can either look straight forwards, or if that feels a strain on your neck, you can just turn your face to look towards the floor. Okay, and then just release and rest down. So if you release the hands, let your elbows fall out away from each other, and just turn and rest your cheek on the floor. So just turn your head to the other side now. Okay, so we're going to repeat that. So we're going to change the interlock over this time, so the other little finger's furthest away from your body. Again, so make sure that your kneecaps are lifted, roll the inner thighs towards the ceiling, press your pubic bone into the floor again. And then inhale, and as you exhale, raise your chest. But now pull the outer shoulders up away from the floor and stretch the arms back. So just see if you can raise one more rib. And then release and rest down. So again, release your hands, rest the arms on the floor, allow your elbows to fall outwards, and just turn and rest your cheek on the floor. So turn your head to the other side now. Okay, so we're going to do Bhujangasana next, Cobra pose. So we're going to bring your hands in line with your chest. So if you join your feet together now, but again, just lengthen your legs backwards one at a time. So hands are in line with your chest. You're going to keep the elbows tucked in towards your body and lift the outer shoulders. Now again, roll the inner thighs up towards the ceiling, press your pubic bone into the floor. And then feel as if you're dragging the hands back towards the waist, so as if you're pulling yourself forwards along the mat. So you're coiling the chest forwards before you begin to lift. So Fantastic. Now, don't worry about trying to straighten your arms. We're keeping the front of the hips on the floor. So lifting the chest bone forwards and up. Again, take the outer shoulders back. If you're comfortable on your neck to turn to look up, then you can. Okay, and then exhale as you lengthen yourself back to the floor. So we'll just fold your arms in front of you, rest your forehead onto your arms for a minute. Okay, so we're going to repeat that. So if you bring your hands back in line with your chest again, make sure that the fingers are spread, so your elbows are tucked in towards you. Again, roll the inner thighs up, press the pubic bone into the floor, and then so feel as if you're dragging the hands back towards the waist now, begin to coil forwards and then lift. And again, we're keeping the front of the hips on the floor. So we want to try and get an even curve through the whole spine. So shoulders back. And then exhale as you lengthen yourself back down again. And then we'll just fold your arms again and rest your head onto them. So let the weight of your forehead release into the arms. Okay, so we're going to just stretch the front of the legs and the front groins. So if we just lift your legs again one at a time and lengthen them backwards. So we're going to come up onto your forearms. Now just see how your lower back feels in this position. So I'm bringing the elbows underneath the shoulders, but if you feel that that's pinching your lower back, then take the elbows further forward so that you can bring yourself lower. So you're going to rest on your left forearm. We're just going to catch hold of your right ankle. Now if you struggle to reach the ankle, you can just take a strap around it. Okay, but make sure that you're not pulling that right knee out to the side, so your thigh bone should be going straight back. That's it, and you're bringing the heel towards its own sitting bone. But press the right front groins into the floor. So if you think the crease at the top of the leg, you're trying to iron that out on the floor and press that. And we're just going to stay, hold that. Okay, and then so release, change legs over. Again, so I'm bringing the forearm, the elbow underneath the shoulder, but if you want to take it further forwards, you can. But see that your thigh bone's going straight back, the heel is coming towards its own sitting bone. So, and press the crease at the top of the left thigh into the floor. And then so just release, just lower yourself down, rest your forehead onto your arms for a minute. Okay, and then we're going to bring your hands underneath your shoulders now. So push yourself up to your knees. And we're just going to sit back on your heels. So we're going to do Uttanasana next, camel pose. So we're going to come up to kneeling. Now, so this pose, we're going to be reaching back and taking the hand to the heels. So if you think you might struggle with that, then you can take a bolster or blocks, whatever you've got, on top of your heels. Okay, now if you just bring the thumbs into either side of your tailbone and move the tailbone forwards into the body. And if you just have a quick look back at your shins, make sure that the shins are going straight back, your feet are pointing straight back. Okay, now you want to feel that you're extending upwards first of all, so you're lifting the chest and roll the shoulders back. And then, so I'm using the thumb still to move the tailbone into the body now, so I'm coiling upwards, then going back. And then we're going to see if you can take your hands down to your heels or onto the support. Okay, but lift the chest bone towards the ceiling. So feel that you're spreading open your chest. So wherever's comfortable for your head, if you're comfortable with it hanging back, you can. Otherwise, raise your head if you need to for your neck. Okay, and then when you come up, so try to come up the same way, level. And then just sit back on your heels for a minute. So head level. Draw the waist back towards the spine. Just breathe. So you can let your eyes close for a minute. Okay, so next, so you're either going to do shoulder stand or legs up the wall. Okay, so I'll show legs up the wall because shoulder stand, I'll show both. So shoulder stand, you'll either have 4 blocks or a stack of stack of neatly folded towels or blankets to about the height of a block if you're using a stack of blankets. So you're going to, so you want to be as close to the wall as you can. Make sure that you've got space for your torso. Obviously it's going to vary depending on your height, the length of your body. Okay, so we're going to have your shoulders well onto the blocks, but the neck is free, so the blocks aren't pushing into the neck. Okay, so the shoulders are rolled over. So I'm doing the wall variation as this is the easiest way to get into it for beginners. Now, don't do shoulder stand or headstand if you are menstruating. Of course, I should have mentioned that before headstand. So you're going to support your back with the index finger and thumb. So I'm walking the elbows towards each other and supporting the back like so. And then you're walking the hands down the back towards the shoulder blades. Okay, now you can stay like this if you want to, or you can take the legs away from the wall into shoulder stand. But if you find that your back starts to drop, the legs drop over your face, just do the wall variation. So you'll get more benefit from there. So we want to feel that the tailbone is stretching up towards the back of the knees. And then when you come down, release your hands, lower yourself slowly down. Again, so you might want to pause the video now if you're going to do shoulder stand to get yourself ready. So if you're doing the legs up the wall instead, and if you've got a bolster, or instead of bolster you can use a couple of firm towels rolled up to about that same height. You want a little bit of a gap in between your support and the wall. And then when you come into it, so you're just going to start with the side of your hip to the wall and then swing the legs around to come into it. So your tailbone should be just dropping down in between the support and the wall. And then you can either rest your arms out to the side or rest your hands on your lower ribs. But roll the shoulders under one at a time. Okay, so that you're on the top of the shoulders, the chest's open. Now if you know hamstrings are tight, if you struggle to keep the knees straight with the legs at a 90-degree angle to your body, then you may need to just bring your supports and bring yourself a little bit further away from the wall. Now this is a lovely quietening pose. So relax your throat, relax your lower jaw. And just watch your breath while you're there. And observing the movement of your breath in the body. The movement of the ribs, the movement of your abdomen. And then when you're ready to come out of this, if you bring your feet flat onto the wall, so you're just going to press your feet into the wall to push yourself straight back off. So bring the back of your hips onto the floor and then bring your legs into cross legs on the bolster. And just rest there for a minute. So change the cross of your legs over. And then bring your legs together, turn yourself to the side to come up. Okay, so we're going to stretch out now on the floor for Shavasana. So if you want any extra layers or anything, or support for underneath your head, take whatever you need, and just make sure that you've got a clear space around you. So I like to move all equipment well out of the way at this stage. So when you're ready, just lower yourself slowly down from bent legs. So beginning from your tailbone and just unrolling one vertebrae at a time to the floor. Now, any lower back issues, if you're more comfortable keeping your legs bent, just step your feet wide on your mat from there and let the knees rest against each other. But if your lower back's okay, then stretch your legs carefully out. So lift your shoulders one at a time, roll the shoulders under, and just let your arms rest a little away from your body, your palms facing upwards, as long as that's comfortable. If you feel like your head is tilting back on the floor, then just pop something under your head.
So draw the chin towards your chest so that you're lengthening the back of your neck. And just let your body completely rest now. So allow the legs to fall away from each other from the very top of your legs. So let your lower back release towards the floor. So shoulders relaxed, allowing the weight of your arms to rest. So fingers gently curling towards the palms. Relax the throat, relax your lower jaw. So your eyes looking towards the chest first and then drawing inwards. And as you watch your breath now, just let your attention rest on the exhalations. And use your exhalations to let go completely with the body. So you can take a few slightly longer exhalations to help that. So making your exhalations slightly longer than your inhalations. And returning to normal breathing, but keeping the attention on the exhalation. So letting go mentally as well as physically with each exhalation. As we prepare to move, just begin to make your inhalation slightly deeper again. And begin to bring awareness back to your body again. So start to move the fingers, the toes, first of all. And then when you're ready, just bend your knees, turn over to your right side and just stay resting there. So from there, use your left hand on the floor and just lift yourself slowly back up to sitting, but keep your eyes closed. So just take a moment. Rest your hands onto your legs. So take a minute to just check in with how you're feeling now. So your body, how you're feeling mentally. And tuning in again to your breath. And then join your hands together now. So just connecting the thumbs to the chest bone. Bow your head down. slowly open your eyes and raise your head slowly to level. Okay, so I hope your bodies all feel good for that, all stretched and open. So I will make another one next week, of course. So stay well, stay safe, everyone. Take care.